Kesef Kavod, we are on page Kuf Tzadi Gimel. Okay, let's go. I got better light now, so I should be able to read better, hopefully. Let's see if how good the light is. B'chai Gulgolta, the Zer Anpin, now at the skull is Zer Anpin, B'golas HaZoshel Zer Anpin, Natif Tala Meresha Chivora. So there's a drip of tal. So he says that it comes down from the white head. Natif the noisel that flows down tal merosh halavan from the white head shall erikanpin the haiduchamin or halvanuni, so the head of the whiteness shall hugugolta the erikanpin. That's that part. 1 second here, please. There we go. V'alhu tala is achze b'srei gavonim. So this tal actually Hazen nira b'shnei gavonim. It appears let me see. It appears to be two different colors, which are white and red, which is right side. Left side. Ki b'hiyosa lamala b'shorsha be'erik anpin hu b'gavon lovan. When it's up above where it come from, it's white. The tal misyasha b'rosha shel zer anpin, and then when the tal comes down, it rests on top of the head of zer anpin. Nizgala ki bo gavon edom. Then you see that it's revealed as it hits. I don't know what it says miyasha, but it settles there. It reveals a red color. The medecha mitzan chalkla the tepuch kedishim. The bezerah batal niza nanukva hanikras sa the tepuchim kedushim. So from this is also where the this tal, I guess, umine, this tal also feeds the nukva. Umrai tala the gogol the dos of this tal. He said, "B'tachnan mana the tzadikaya the alma the ase is ground from this tal is ground out the man that's going to be fed to the tzadikim in the future world. Torchan tochanin min tzadikim laolam." Just 1 second. 1 second. Okay, and from this tal, which is ground down, is what the tzaddikim will be able to, will revive the dead. So we're going to resurrect the dead. It's also going to come from this tal. Below this damen od palm, mana de nalfa mahai tal. So there wasn't another time that this was coming down. Sheyipol man man mizeh hatal ha'elyon. So that from this man that's coming from this tal, it only happened one time. Only at that time we were in the desert. V'zan lahu atika dekulha. V'zan osam and the atik mikol. So once again we have this upper ancient one. He says shuhu erik anpin. Mahai aser mimakol mazer, from this place at the haidach bin hatal haba amin hagogolta shall erik anpin, from that drip of tal that comes off of the head. This is something that was never found at any other time. This is the meaning of this phrase. V'yomer Hashem el Moshe. So that Hashem spoke to Moshe, who was the speaker. He says, "Dahainu Erik Anpin Amar." Said Moshe Rabbeinu is at such a high level. So he says, "I'm going to call to put lashon mater down below," and he says that he's going to call to rain down onto them lechem. Who Haman, that lechem is the man. Where does it come from? It comes from Shemayim, Anpin. So it comes apparently from Erik Anpin into Zer Anpin, and comes to us. Zer Anpin, Hanikra Shemayim, was called heaven. Maybe Raya Shechatal Yored Zer Anpin and Nikra Shemayim. So now you bring a proof on this, that's how it goes. He said, Kamada Atamar, you say like this, V'yitan l'kol Elokim, Amitala Shemayim, let this blessing that Hashem should bring to you from the dew of the heaven. Kolumba v'yitin l'cholochim brachos meshefa hatal. So this is what we're talking about. The tal shall Erik Anpin. It's asking for a very high level of bracha hanikra shemayim. So hi Zeha man sheyared mina Golgotha shel Eric Anpin. Now talking about this man that falls from the head of Eric Anpin. Bahahu Zimna at that particular time, Hoyu Rak Bismana, who was only at that time, behind the Bedor Hamidbar. Sha'az Yared the man Bischuso shall Moshe Rabbeinu. So then the man came down, and once again we're talking about this towel that's dripping off the head of Eric Anpin, because Moshe Rabbeinu was able to inspire it. So Yared the man Bischuso in the merit of Moshe Rabbeinu, the Zimna Achra Tanina. But another time we said like this. When we speak about other periods, it's not like that. So at that time, that the making a living or having enough to eat, shall Adam kamei kudsha barichu, lifnei hakodesh baruch hu shuhu hamalchus v'chavetam. So what was the first part? He says it's hard. It was hard to feed them. Ki shefa mazonas adam kavar eno yared az metalico golta derikanpin, because at that moment the flow was not coming out from this tal that's coming off of Eric Anpin, shuhu rachmim gemurim, which is complete and total whiteness or kindness or mercy. V'ha b'mazal talias, but things changed. Everything began to depend on the Mazal. So now we're going to this area. What's the difference here exactly that we're talking about the Mazal? So once again, we're into the situation that he's talking about either the 6th Mazal, which is Rav Chesed, or he's talking about the 8th and the 13th Mazalos. So let's see what he says. Mazlos teluyim hamazonos. Rather, excuse me. He said there was only, in other words, he's saying one time, and only one time, that Hashem actually gave us mazonos from this tremendously high level. But really, the mazonos that our panas on our way of life is our ability to be able to sustain ourselves is really dependent on the mazel of the dikna of Eric Anpin. That's already, once you get to the beard, you already have a tzimtzum going on over there, and you have already dinim. So this specifically, our mazonas comes from this place, and not from the Golgotha of Eric Anpin. Shuhu rachamim gemurim, because our mazonas comes with a shtickle pain. So the Chachamim said like this, B'lishonim, B'nei Chai U'Mazonei. So he said, what is this? So he said, B'nei Chai U'Mazonei. There you go. So he said, B'banim Chaim U'Mazona. So he says, children like life and food. La b'schusa tal yechamilsa. Ina talui b'schus. It doesn't really depend on a person's merit. Ela b'mazlo tal yechamilsa. In other words, his living is really depending on this mazel. El b'mazal the elyon tadli adavar. Shulchan b'mazal the dikna de Eric Anpin, which is done. Now we're back onto the dikna of Eric Anpin. We're down below, not in the place of the Golgotha. We're here. V'chuvlav davka bonim v'chayim and bezonos. It's not just bonim, chayim, and bezonos that depending on this mazel. Teluyim b'mazel. Ela v'kulo tal yechah b'chayim mazalo. V'chakol teluyim b'zecha mazel. But everything really depends on this mazel. That has been explained, as this has been talked about. So Tishal Alfim Ribo Almim. Now here we have something, it's a little more complicated for me. He says Tisha Alpim Ribo, so you have 9,000, 10,000 Almim. So this is number 9, spread out. So he says Tisha Alfim Ribo Alamos. Okay, I'm back, and we're at the bottom of the left column on page Kuf Tzadi Hey. It says Tisha Alpim Ribo Almim. Tisha Alpim Ribo, so there's 9,000, 10,000 Olomos. Sheheba Bechinas Tisha, which is the concept of 9 Kavutsus Sa'aros. Now, let's see, where do we get this number? This is question. Because there are 9 specific bundles of hair, Hanikroyim Nimin. Okay, Sha'al Gulgolas there Anpin. These 9 bundles, and I think he's focusing on these 9 bundles. Sha'al Gulgolas Zer Anpin, which is on the skull of Zer Anpin. V'heim keneged the Tesha Tikuni Diknu Zer Anpin. So these bundles of hair also correspond to the 9. He's not explaining the correspondence exactly. He said they correspond to the 9 tikuni dikna of Zer Anpin. So there's a relationship between the 9 bundles on the head of Eric Anpin and the beard of Zer Anpin. Okay, so it's 9 and 9. And so now once you have that 9, he says Keneged Shlosha Mochim Shabarosh Zer Anpin, and then corresponding to the 3 mochim that are in the head of Zer Anpin, should call much kolam b'shlosha, and then each one of the mochim, it's a little bit chiddush here. He says that you call moach kolam mishlosha. So every moach has a chabad. So yachad lemisbar tesha. So you have 3 times 3, that's 9. So notlim v'samchim al chai gulgalta. So he said ve'elu hatesha oros. So how you come to 9? He just gave us several different ways. He said ve'elu hatesha oros. Heim lamala al zer hagugola. So these 9 lights are up above on the head of Eric Anpin. Ha'amod me'al parts of ha'amido shal chesed gevura teferes, and they're standing above me'al parts of hamidos, the parts of hamidos shal chesed gevura teferes. So you say these lights are on top of these midos. So it sounds like there's a light, and then there's a row of midos, which are chesed gevura teferes. V'nismachim al parts of netzachod yisod, and they're also resting on, I think it could be a right translation, on the nai. Shehem haspheros hasomchim as gufa partzuf, and those are the spheros that hold the goof of the partzuf. So if you don't mind, I'd just like to read this again, because I don't think I really understood it. He said that he got to this number 9. So let's just look at the Rav just for a second. Where is it? Okay, at the very bottom of page of the top part on page Kuf Tzadi here, it says Tisha Alpi Ribos Almim. So we have this number of 9,000, 10,000 world Notlim V'Samchim Al Chai Golgolta. So they take and they rely on this Gulgalta. So the words are Notlim v'samkim al hai Gulgalta ve'edach hatesha oros heim lamala al zeh hagulgala. So what he sees, he rests on them, or they support it. That means that they're up above the skull. Lamala al zeh Gulgalta. So it's up above. Ha'omed ma'al parts of hamidos shal chesed gevura teferes. Now that's where I'm having the problem. Is understanding. I thought we were at the Gulgalta of Eric Anpin, and now he says that this is standing up above these midos, which is basically a chagat. V'nismachim al parts of netzachod yisod. So he wants to say that the 3s on top of the 3s is something like that. Shehem haspheros hasomchim as guf partzuf. So I'm not sure how that worked and really understand. So maybe we'll see more as we go along. So now let's go back to this pure air that we were talking about. Now this is a piece that we learned yesterday. It's a little complicated too. So did he mean to say that? Let me see. What was the person before the Gulgalta? Okay, so I'm trying to figure this out. So the chesed of Atik, which is in the Gulgalta of Eric Anpin, this is Gonus Ba'aba, is now comes down and is hidden inside of Abba, is Kala L'Bakula B'Niskala B'Kol, and this chesed that's coming down now from this Gulgalta gets mixed up with everything. The Idra Zuta, also with the sparks. Shehema Gevura the Atek Agana B'Mei Ima, which is hidden inside of Ima. So let's just clear that out right now, and let's say that the Chesed of the Gulgalta is hidden inside of Abba, and the Gevura that comes from Ima is hidden inside of the womb of Ima. So he says, Bezivug Abba V'Ima, now you're going to have a yichud between them. Niskala the Chesed the Abba, what happens is that the Chesed that comes from Abba, Ima gavura the ima kamo sha'amarna la'el. So now you have this. There's a yichud taking place, and the chesed is got. So it sounds like it's like the ball rolling type of dealing, or this phrase that I like from Pesach, which is a Yom Shekulo, that it has within it everything else. So v'keven who kolol mikula. So since it has everything else in it, v'keven shachachesed avira kolol mahakol. So it has everything in it. The hainu ima gavura de nitzutza. So hagavura de nitzutza. Yes, so he means to say that this chesed, which came from the skull of Zer Anpin, which is in Abba, is now going to become into everything. V'kula is kalilu bey. So everything ukamo kain. Hakol kolalim anichlalim bo. Everything is incorporated in that chesed. The hainu shechel gavura de nitzutza nischalim and b'chesed avira. So you have the gavura from the sparks is going along with the chesed that's coming from this air. Now this is another big idea, I think, and from the yichud that takes place of the chesed going into the gevuros, yotzad ben atzel the rosh sells their anpin. So how this happens, but this is actually the yichud that produces the top as their anpin, kamosha amar la'el, like we said. So therefore, as we're talking about this incorporation of one thing with another, gam is pashto anpoi. Now that's an interesting phrase. This pashit or hapanim shall zer anpin. So from this causes the light in the face of zer anpin to shine. Where does it shine to? It shines the trin citron to two different sides, and this shines sideways, or two different sides. L'shnei tzadadi aponim, the two different sides of the face. Shehem shnei tefuchim yam the small, which are the two cheeks, the right cheek and the left cheek. Betraying the harin, the two different kinds of lights start to shine. B'shnei oros elo shel chesed, the gevura chesed, the tzad yamin, the gevura, the tzad small. So this is all as a result of this yichud that's taking place between Abba ve'ima, klili mekula, shehem klulim mikala chesed v'gevura shel Abba ve'ima, and so they all are going to be incorporated in the chasadim and gevuros of Abba ve'ima. Because istakluch anpoin. As they are looking out, the face looking outwards. And it's looking, ba'anpin atika kadisha, looking at the face of Eric Anpin, b'ponav shel atika kadisha, the hayda b'metzach shel Eric Anpin, and as they are looking at the metzach of Eric Anpin, that is, this face, these faces, whoops, lost them again. What happened? Speaker? Hello? You got you there. Let's go up to the top of that left column again, and it said, "Because istaklu anpoi kushemistaklim panav shazer anpen," as they look, ba'anpim da atika kadisha, they look at the face of atika kadisha, looking upwards. B'panav shal atika kadisha dachayda b'matzak shal Eric Anpen, they're looking at that forehead. Oz Kula Eric Anpen Ikri. When that happens, there's such a powerful, let's just go, call Nikra Eric Anpen, and everything is called Eric Apayim. Excuse me, not Eric Anpen, Eric Apayim. Everything is which Lashon patience. Ki ad heda rabachoya Nikra Zer Anpen. So up in this time, this that is Zer Anpen was called Zer Anpen. Now everything is going to be called Eric Apayim. Let me see if I can turn this page. Here we go. Now it's a little fact that maybe I should have known, but I don't. He said that Zer Anpin only had 150 lights on his face. Now his face is spreading. And then now he gets to 370 lights, Eric Anpin, which is the two sides of the face. Is two kales, and the milui is 185. So v'nikra gam, and it's also called gam hu Eric Apayim. And it's also called then by this name called Eric Apayim. Eric Apayim. Now let's start talking about why did they change his name to Eric Apayim. My erikapayim, my pirish erikapayim. Sheim agavonika pshuto. So if you're saying that the simple understanding what it means, who ma'arach af, he holds back his anger. The Hanishim Arach as Meshach Zaman Apo, Picasso Kadesh Yislach Anish. So in other words, he'd extend out the time when he would exercise his anger so that there shouldn't be any punishment. V'im Kain, Choyulomer Erik Af. So then he needs Erik Af. So that's true. Hold back the anger, right? Apalashon Yachid, it should have been in singular. V'lama Kafal Lashon Erik Apayim. So why did it double up and make it in plural? Belashon Rabim. Ela the Vipashut, but according to this simple meaning, and this is what we want to say, Kach Lamadu, begin the Erik Apayim, that concept, L'chayvaya, is the reason why, is because he should have patience, long-lasting suffrage of anger, bifnei shema'arech as shema'arech af l'rishayim ma'arech af l'tzadikim, because there's two, it's in plural, because he's patient with both sides. The sides of bad people and good people. But l'chein Omer Erik Apayim, so therefore he says Erik Apayim, Lashon Rabim, it's plural. V'hinei Rabagam Mesech of Pirush Nachon Hu, so this is correct. Aval lefi Masha Amarno Yivur Heiti, but according to what we said previously, this can be explained well. Pirush Erik Apayim Al Pi HaSod, you can understand according to Sod. Ki Erik Apayim Haido Asvasacha da Anpin. So what is Erik Anpin? It also means the refuah for the faces. Or what does he mean Anpin? Refuah min haponim. No, it does not. It does the Anpin. It means from the face. There's a refuah that comes from it. So ki Erik Erech, the word Erech, which means long, hum lashon orucho merape. It's getting things, holding on and healing. So v'apayim pirusha, and the word apayim is pirusha panim. So it's Erik apayim. He said v'hainu ki min hapanim shall Erik anpin, and this is what he wants to say. From the face of Erik anpin, nimshak refuah talka l'dini zer anpin, extends down to zer anpin, a sweetening for his dinim. Lo ishtakach asv'zach ba'alma ki lo nimsa refuah b'hamtaka hamtakas dinim ba'olam ela bezimna de ashkachin anpin ba'anpin. The only time that you see this refuah for sin, I guess that's what he's saying, this forgiveness for sin, or this Erik Apayim for sin, is that when the two faces are looking at each other. Elash b'shash Erik anpin v'zer anpin mistaklim panim b'panim, when they look the faces one into the next. Sha'az gan zer anpin yeshlo shlosh meus v'shavim oros kamo Erik anpin, because when that happens, he absorbs all the lights from Erik anpin, and instead of the 150 he was talking about, he now has 370. V'nikra Erik Apayim, and he's called Erik Apayim kamo Erik anpin, just like Erik anpin, kamo shamarna lamal. So we already talked about this a little bit. So let's go over here. Let's see what else is. Now we're in a place called Mochin Dezer Anpen. So I said, B'chalala the Gogolta. So let's go back into the skull. B'chalal Hagadol Shal Gogolas Zer Anpen. So now into the great chamber inside of the skull of Zer Anpen, Shabo Shlosh Chalala Gatanim. And inside of the great chamber there are 3 small ones. So he said, Nirin plus Naharin. And in them appear, so Me'irim are shine, Shlosh Oros. So he says, so the Shehem Shlosh Mochim Chachma Bina Das, which is are 3 great Mochim, Shalzer Anpin. So in those tiny Chalolim, he says they're small. So he says in the tiny Chalolim appears this light, or shines this light. So he says, Ine Das Shalzer Anpin, HaNiknasa Betoch Shlosh Chalolim Ba'elu. So now coming into these chalolim, now comes these 3 lights. V'sho v'itay b'tlas, does he say there's 3, right? V'im tisho v'tomer echem shloshem mochim belvad. How is it that there are only 3 mochim? Arba inun, they're actually 4. Halo arba mochim heim. Kamadokimna, that we've talked about, the amena, that we said this about Gamosha Marti, like I said, sham mochim nechlochen la arba. The mochim are divided into 4. Shehem shnei mochim chachma bina. Hanikram achsante the aboy v'imei. So this is a Yerusha's Ava V'ima. This is inheritance from his father and his mother. Kizer Anpin Yerush Osechem Abba V'ima. So he gets his mochin from Abba V'ima, so therefore they are inheritance. But that is, they give to what has come to them, they give to their children, which is their anpin, min Eric anpin, and that's what comes from Eric anpin. Od shnei mochim chasada gevuras das and nekroim trin gnizim deloin. But there's also another two mochim. Those two mochim are the chasadim and gevuras das shnei cholokam meganuzim bechem. There are three inside of them. That is hidden. There are two other mochim that are also hidden inside of Abba Ve'ima. But they're only there not to become a part, but only to be held there. L'tzorach zer anpin, for the purpose of filling in zer anpin. Gehem nemshachim in Eric anpin hiyos kalkul v'nechalazu shazer anpin. They come from Eric anpin through Abba Ve'ima and into zer anpin, where they are destined to go. The misadrin kuhu bereshe. Now let's go back. So he says, v'kol arba mochim ha'elu. So now we have these four mochim. Misadrin berosh zer anpin. They're crowned on the rosh of zer anpin. Besod or makif, and they're like a makif. Ve'inin tefillin deresha. Now we went back, we threw into the tefillin deresha, the concept of tefillin deresha. Now he's saying that it's outside of the head of zer anpin. That's what I'm hearing. And maybe that's why they're shining into the skull. I don't know. V'hem nikroim b'shem tefillin shel rosh shel zer anpin, and they're called by that name. The arba, let's see, of arba mochim hey b'bechinas arba parshas shel tefillin, because we said that the four mochim really refer to the four parshas of the tefillin. V'im kain, and that's the case. B'vur sheyesh arba mochim the zer anpin, so we see there's actually are four mochim for zer anpin. So how is it we say that the mochim, which are actually three different lights, three level of radiances, I guess, rak shlosh mochim shehem. So that's the old conversation we've had before, where we see that it's three, but it's actually four. So, but here we want to bring it again. Umeshiv ki hamochim nachlocher la'arba. They're divided into four. Rak ba'od shehem bebechinet makifim bebechutz the rosh zer anpin. So he says that only before they come into zer anpin, there are already four. Avachal lebasach mischavra besitroi. Achar kach though mischavram edo ha'arba mocha b'tzadadav. Now what he means by tzadadav, but he means the four mochin come in. The haylo sheniknase betoch levushi netzachod yisod shal ima, that they come into levush from the higher parts of which is ima. So they're like inside, there's it's like a three-part sock, so to speak, of ima that's holding these that come into zer anpin. Muach hachachma b'kli hanetzach, muach habina b'kli hahod, v'b'shnei hamochin chasada gevuras dedas niknachten yachad b'levush hayisod shal ima. So now these three compartments of the netzachod and yisod are holding these four mochim. And once they're held together, I guess that's why you count it as three. So since the two of them, that is the Chochmah the Das, the Chasana the Das, and the Gevuras the Das, are all in one kli, and they join together, and they become only one more. Hanikra Das, which is called Das Akalo B'Chasana Gevuras Yachad, which has Chasana Gevuras together. And now they shine. They shine as a triplicate, as a three. Now you notice that we just went through this concept of nine, of this 9,000, 10,000 worlds or whatever lights. I don't remember what he said exactly, but he broke it down to threes again, and we've been running threes through a lot of this Idra Zuta. V'ha'olim b'slas chalala de golta. Ve'eda ha'shlosha mochim neknase b'toch shlosh chalala ha'golgolas shel zer anpin, and they go into these three, which he said previously were small chambers in the skull of zer anpin. Muach החוכמה בחלק הימיני, ומוח הבינה בחלק השמאלי, במוח הדס, הכל בחסד ובבורס הדס, יחד נכנס לסו חלק השלישי. So then now we have them all there into their container, their compartments. So in this we said like this is Biarno sheyesh lezer anpen rak shlosh mochim shehem klas nahorim. So what he wants to say is that that's really what it is. It's three lights. See and that's the reason why we say that it has three mochim. The hailuk shehem bebechinas or panimi, that is when they're on the inside of zer anpen. Betocha gugol is inside of the skull. Below shehem bebechinas or makif mechutz the rosh zer anpen, and not like they're makif outside of the head of zer anpen. How about one?
Right.
That's it?
No. Yep.
Oh, okay, call to.